Little native Fann, the Preacher Man, and his sidekick Shanan Jones. Frank discussions of issues affecting the ATL, Fulton County, the state of Georgia, the nation, and around the world. And now, here they are, live and in living color, the team of Jones and Fann, the Preacher Man.
Well, welcome again today to another great edition of Straight Talk with Joe Greg Fann, the Preacher Man, and my co-host Shanan E. Jones. Now, you know Shanan, he's got something he's going to say that's going to be funny, it's going to be comical, and he's been eating bird seeds. I don't know why he went out to the bird nest to get the bird seeds to eat them. I don't know why he did that. How you doing, Shanan?
I would eat a watermelon, but I don't need y'all starting no rumors
Well, we ain't
about
gonna
me.
start a rumor.
I don't want y'all talking about me saying I'm stereotypical.
Well, you may be that in a sense, but you know. But we love it.
Bishop, I'm fine. I'm doing fine. We're on day whatever of the Trump documents watch, and I'm doing good. Can't wait for tonight's show to hear what Liz Cheney's up to, and is she gonna jump in the race? And always to hear Miss C, and I'm happy that your son is gonna be with us on tonight. I didn't know you had so many sons. You got more sons than Abraham. But the Lord said, be fruitful and multiply.
Not quite.
The Lord said, be fruitful and multiply. And I see you've done that. Amen.
You know what? You are right. I do have more sons than Abraham. You are right. You're correct. You know what you win for that? Absolutely nothing. How's your son?
My son as well. You might hear him screaming a little bit tonight. He's just straight talking. That's all.
All right, just straight talking. Yeah, and don't forget we got Jim Jordan. We got Jim Jordan coming up.
Oh, the wrestling coach. You mean the wrestling coach from Ohio? The Ohio State.
The Ohio State. Yeah, we got him coming up about
pedophile Jim.
The actual Supreme Court voted that the case can go forward because the lower court said they were going to move it, and then they appealed it. The school appealed it. Then the Supreme Court overturned that decision and sent it back to the lower court for the lower courts to actually let them move forward with that case. And so, and I believe that the school has paid out almost over 200 some. I mean, it's over to 200 and some students already. It's another 177 saying they were molested also too by the coach.
Wow.
So, and the assistant coaches and everybody knew about it. Even the referee said that he knew about it and he reported it to Congressman Jordan, and he did absolutely nothing. And he's saying he don't know nothing about it. He didn't know nothing about that was happening. But with that smoke, there's what? Fire. But you know, we're gonna start off right now. We're gonna start off with my son and I, and of course, you know, we come out of Father's Day, and I brought him on this week to just kind of share with us about, you know, a little bit about baseball and how fun I take me out to the ball game. We'll be back with yours truly, Bishop Fann, and Ernest, where you at, Ernest, where you at, Ernest, come on, man, come on in the room. Where is he at? Ernest, where you at? Ernest, did you leave Ernest? Ernest, where is Ernest? Oh, there Ernest is. Well, listen here, y'all. I know he look like he's bigger than me. That's only because he is. Look at this is Ernest. This is my son Ernest. And listen, this Jordan and Jaden's father, you know, they were on before, but you know, it's been so long. They done got to be little old men now.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but you know, he took me to the Braves game for Father's Day. What kind of hat you got on today? That's the
Braves. Oh yeah. This new age Braves.
Oh, new age Braves.
Yeah, with lowercase a. This how the young folks do it.
Well, look at I don't know how y'all young folks do it, but y'all doing it. But anyway, but listen, I want to talk a little bit about the Braves. You know you love baseball.
Right. I love baseball.
We had a good time.
We did. Braves came back and won. It was a good game. It was a little boring at first, but you know we was having a good time.
Yeah,
so it really
let me tell you this. They only won because I win.
Okay. I do that. I keep that.
Not because Jimmy was there, not because Carl was there. It's because I was there.
I got that. I do that. I give you that.
Thanks so very much. But I'm gonna have to go to another game so they can win the World Series.
Oh man, that's gonna be a long stretch right there, Pop.
Well,
it's gonna be a long stretch.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah, we're around September.
Mm-hmm.
we'll know what they're gonna do.
Okay. Well, we're getting close to
that's a baseball season, a long season.
I know, but we're getting close.
Yeah, we getting close, but in between now and then they're gonna have about almost 20 games. 20 more games, so that's gonna be, they looking alright though.
But who you think gonna be in the World Series though? Seriously, I mean, I know it's kind of early, but you're a baseball fanatic, so I'm a basketball and football fanatic. Pittsburgh Steelers, preferably. Everybody know that.
Lord have mercy, Pittsburgh Steelers. But we ain't gonna have to worry about the Steelers for a while, y'all. But anyway, back on the Braves. Go back on the Braves.
On baseball. Go back on
baseball. Well, I mean, you know what? It's a few teams looking good. It's a few teams looking good. But me personally, I'm a 2-team man. I love the Cubs, rather win, lose, or draw. I love the Braves.
You back to the Cubs.
Yeah.
That's all these years, Jay.
Hey,
all these years.
The Cubs.
Okay.
The Cubs were my first team.
All right, okay.
I done been to so many Cubs games. Oh Lord, I love Wrigley Field.
I mean, when they won, when they finally won. Mama went crazy.
Because in '84, when they lost, I went behind the refrigerator and cried for about 2 hours. Oh, my feelings was crazy. I remember like it was yesterday. But yeah, they had all the Ryan Sandberg, Penguin. Who else was on their team? Who was the pitcher? Matter of fact, they even had Maddox played for the Cubs.
Oh really?
Mm-hmm. When he first got drafted.
Oh okay.
They used to call him the wild thing. He throw it all over the place.
Yeah, and then it came to the Braves and then helped win.
And there you go. Now you talking about a Hall of Fame.
That's him.
Yeah.
That's him.
Yeah.
Well, since you're such a baseball fan.
Okay.
And I know you played Little League ball.
Right.
So what position did you play?
Third base pitcher. I played a little center field, depending on the team. I played on a lot of baseball teams.
Okay.
Played on a lot of baseball teams.
Well, I mean, I just want to know what was your best position?
Third base. Third base took me there.
Okay.
Third base took me to Alabama State on third base.
All right.
But
so did you get the ball on the first base? You get the ball on the first base all
you don't see this cannon over here? You don't see this cannon over here? Shoot, well, that was I was in the Little League World Series. We played in the Little League World Series. Yeah, that was a good experience. 12 years old, I was in the Little League World Series.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, he never took on the position of trying to coach a Little League team, but
I did. Remember when Jordan played?
That's right, because Jordan wouldn't even want to get on.
He quit.
He quit.
Got me stuck.
Got me
stuck with the team. And Jeremiah. Jeremiah, I got stuck with Jeremiah's team. I was out there just taking him to practice and got stuck with the team. I did in Union City.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, this is ex-coach. Well, Ernest, thank you for joining me today.
Yes, sir.
Looking at baseball. And,
I'm going to have to come back on it. I like this show.
Yeah, well, come on back.
They got the best host in the land.
And don't you know it? It ain't nothing but straight talk. That's all it is straight talk, ladies and gentlemen. Just straight talk. Hey, man, it was fun. It was fun having my son on with me, Shanan.
Oh, yeah. Man, first of all, Ernest, I'm a fan already. First of all, he know what he's talking about.
Okay.
He didn't put you in your place with the Steelers and said we don't have to worry about them for a while. He's a Cubs man. My grandmother, my paternal grandmother was a Cubs school teacher. School teacher in Chicago for 36 years, and would come home to watch her Cubs and play solitaire, watching Mr. Ernie Banks from 53 to 71, Mr. Cub. Mr. Sunshine, shortstop, first baseman, the great Ernie Banks. I mean, just that he's all right with me. I mean, he's a true motivator, and he motivated me so much that literally my watermelon My watermelon literally joined his team tonight.
All right. Thank you so very much for that. But what was the guy's name who was a commentator for the was it Harry Carey for all those years for the
Harry Carey,
yeah, Harry Carey, yeah,
the
for
great Harry Carey. Yeah,
for the
yeah,
Cubs.
the great
Well,
Harry Carey.
well, you know, maybe one
Take
day,
me out to the ball
maybe one
game.
year, your son will take you out to the ball game, and you can
Hey
eat some
man,
peanuts
I'm
and
looking forward
popcorn
to it.
and cracker jack, and you won't care if you never get back. It's a root for the home team. If they don't win, it's a shame. It's 1, 2, 3 strikes you out at the
At
old
the
ball
old game.
game.
Yeah. Are you a baseball
Yeah,
man
yeah.
yourself?
Oh yeah, you know I used to coach little league ball. I did. I was
Oh,
just messing with Ernest, but
I would have hated to have been
I
on your
played
team, man. I'd
little
have hated
league
to have been
ball.
on your team. I'd have hated to have been on your team, man.
Oh
I
man,
already know.
yeah,
Man, were you
yeah. Well,
coaching or were you doing like my dad? Were you coaching or were you going off on children? Was this more of
no,
a
I
psychological release for you because you were stressed out on your job and so you wanted to go ahead and give children a
no,
hard way to go
no,
for about 2 hours
no,
every 3 nights a
actually,
week or what?
I coached two little league teams. I coached Rush Memorial,
Okay.
and I
Was your
coached
team any good?
Beulah Baptist Church. Reverend Cottrell, the late Reverend Cottrell, and Dr. Reverend Joe Boone was a pastor of Rush Memorial at the time. Well, you know, teaching young people fundamentals, and you know they're in that hot sun and they're young. Some of them was pretty good and would listen. Some just wanted to have the uniform on, so the girls would come and watch them in the uniform. So you know how that was back in the day with little league ball players. I'm sure
Oh
that you know
man. Oh
about
yeah. Well, I played
that.
little league in College Park, and we know all that fundamentals talk, all that rah rah rah, all that stuff. We were serious about it, man. You got on these teams, you had to understand the fundamentals, but we didn't give out ninth place trophies and all that stuff. It was all that participation and all that. No, man. And my father was a coach. He coached the Cardinals.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, he was a heck of a coach too. Yeah, I mean, but I love baseball. I can sit up and watch baseball. My friends said, "You like baseball? It's so boring." Well, it's not any. It wasn't to me ever, but even more now. The game is moving even faster now because of the new rules. So I'm happy that you and Ernest had an opportunity to get together and enjoy a game. How do you like that? How do you like that Truist Park?
I love it. I love it. I love it.
Really?
It's a
Like it
city
better than
within
Fulton County Stadium?
absolutely. It's a city within a city. I mean, just you got all kinds of entertainment shops and all kinds of things that outside of the stadium as well as on the inside. So
So they
it's
couldn't have
really
put that in
really
the hood? I mean, I'm just trying to understand.
well, what we lost called County Game. So hey, it is what it is. But listen, we got to bring Miss C on now with our news and information. We're gonna bring Miss C on,
I
and
got
we'll
to
be
stop
back.
protesting.
And we'll be back. What?
I ain't been to a Braves game. I used to go all the time since they moved to Cobb County. I ain't been to a game. I got to pray for my deliverance.
Well,
I just be protesting. Come
listen,
on, let's bring Miss C.
listen. Though
I just be protesting and
look
protesting.
here. Well, seriously though, one day we ought to go out to the game. One day we'll go to the game.
I'd
We'll
love for
pick
you
a
to
game
take
to
me
go.
to a game, Bishop.
I won't be taking you. I may drive, but I won't be taking you.
Well, I'd love for you to drive. I'll pay for it, okay? I'll pay for the game and the hot dogs and the Coca-Cola, okay?
Thank you so very much. I hope you got $10 for a hot dog because that's what they call it in the Coca-Cola, $5.50.
My brother Tony,
And
we
then
went to a
look at
game once. We went to a game, Braves game once, and my father wasn't there. My mom took me and my brother and Tony
yeah.
and my cousins, and one of the Braves players was flirting with mom, and Tony said, "Dad ain't here. Go on and talk to him a little bit so we can go down in the dugout and meet the team." She said, "Boy, I'm not doing that."
Well, listen, the things that we do. Listen, we're going to get ready to go and bring on Miss C, and we'll be back on the other side. Hope you're enjoying the program today. It ain't nothing but straight talk with yours truly, Greg Fann, the Preacher Man, and Shanan E. Jones. And we got more interesting things to share with you.
Hello. Hey, Bishop Greg. Hey, Pastor Shannon. Hope you all are doing well. This is Miss C here with your 3-minute news blast. Before I begin, I just want to tell you, I have on my t-shirt that says I'm a survivor. I'm a 4-time survivor of cancer, and I'm real grateful to God for sparing me. And, I heard today sometimes when you're down and out, sit down and write down 3 things that you're grateful for. And so I say to you, if you ever start feeling down and depressed or anxious, sit down and think about 3 things that you're grateful for. And do it every day. Start journaling. And I've been journaling, and you'll find that it is very relaxing. You can look back over it sometimes and see what you've written. And it really does help the psyche. And so I just want to say that I am grateful to God for sparing me 4 times with cancer. Okay, now let me give you these little tidbits of news, okay? The Children's Soar presents a back-to-school supply drive August the 5th at Liberty International Church, 1362 Metropolitan Parkway in Southwest Atlanta. That's where our own Bishop Greg Fann is pastor. For this supply drive to be successful, your donations of school supplies are needed. And needed are things that kids need every day to make school successful. Pencils, sharpeners, pens, Sharpies, colored pencils, markers, highlighters, paper, composition books, backpacks, erasers, etc. Anything that you can think of that a child would need to be in school, they would really like for you to donate. And there will also be free haircuts and hairstyles and games and more. Now, donations are being accepted right now, and they will be accepted until July 31st. And to get more information, you can send an email to tcsinc@thechildrensoar.org, or you can log on to www.thechildrensoar.org. Okay. Bishop Aaron Lackey, Bishop Aaron B. Lackey Ministries presents the United Church of God in Christ Choir, and they invite you to a live recording that's going to happen July 17th, 6:30 p.m. at the church, 161 Sonoya Road in Fairburn. Featured will be Bishop Aaron B. Lackey, Aaron Pace Rhodes, James Jackson, and many more. New Beginnings International Church Ministries at 2459 Roosevelt Highway in College Park invites you to join them in worship each Sunday at 5 p.m. The pastor is Alfonso McDonald. Now listen, there are 4 things I'd like for you to do for me. I'd like for you to subscribe and to like us, and you'll see those buttons on the front of your screen. And I'd like for you to leave comments. Let us know how we're doing. And number 4, share us. Don't forget to let everybody know about Straight Talk News. We are here. And you can tell them they can go and find us on YouTube under Straight Talk News with Greg Fann. And be sure to put in Greg Fann, because there are other shows out there that says Straight Talk News, but there's only one. Straight Talk News with Greg Fann and Bishop and Pastor Shanan. And listen, I hope you all have a wonderful week and enjoy your holidays and stay safe, okay? All right. See you later. Bye now.
Well, your friend, my friend, Miss C with news and information. Miss C says just like this. She says it just like this. She said, hey, tell everybody about Straight Talk. Let everybody know about Greg Fann, the preacher man, and Shanan E. Jones, and Miss C. And if you have news and information, get it to Miss C. But Miss C, you have to get it together on that. One week is like, subscribe, comments, and share. Then the next week is subscribe, like,
there you go,
comments, and share. Miss C, you got to get it together. But anyway, we want you to do those 4 things. We want you to like us, we want you to subscribe, and we want you to make comments, and we do want you to share. And you'll see up there, send it out to Straight Talk News, 1362 at gmail.com. Shanan,
Miss
let's
C,
go
you
on
ain't
now.
got to get nothing together because wasn't no till you told the people to do that, he wasn't telling nobody like, share, comment, or nothing. So if however you say it, you just say it the way you want to say it. Miss C, you're all right by me, all right?
You
Amen.
all right? You all right by me too, Miss C? We get it together. But listen, Shannon, let's move to Jim Jordan here, the congressman, the powerful congressman that's over the Judiciary Committee, who's always backing Mr. Trump. And no matter what Mr. Trump does, he ain't lying. Mr. Trump ain't lying. He ain't lying. He could have taken. He had the right to deal with the classified information and do it the way he wanted to do it. He had the right to do what he did during the January 6th insurrection. He had the right to do all the things that he did. That's what Mr. Jordan has said. And now Mr. Jordan and his committee has voted, or were part of voting to get rid of Mr. Adam Schiff in terms of censoring him. Boy, I tell you, this thing is interesting. And now
And they're trying to impeach the president.
And they're trying to impeach the president. And listen, and here he is. Well, let's let the people hear what they're saying, Shanan, and we'll be back on the other side talking about it.
He calls them all liars, but more and more former Ohio State University wrestlers are coming forward to say their former assistant coach, Congressman Jim Jordan, knew student athletes were being sexually abused and are dumbfounded to understand how Jordan can deny it.
That's a lie. He's lying.
Period.
Period. He's a liar.
Tito Vasquez is the latest, a walk-on wrestler in 1989 who took an elbow to the nose. Sent to team doctor Richard Strauss to stop a nosebleed, the doctor fondled his genitals.
There were some wrestlers with Jordan over to my left-hand side, and I said something to the effect that Doc's hands are freezing, and that he examined me thoroughly, extremely thoroughly, my private parts, and everybody was just like, kind of snickering. Jordan said, I have nothing to do with this.
But Jordan heard what you said.
Oh, he heard what I said.
Vasquez, a public school teacher for the past 27 years, is the sixth former Ohio State wrestler to tell CNN they directly told Jim Jordan of the abuse, or Jim Jordan was present when someone was recalling abuse by the team's doctor. 8 more former wrestlers tell CNN the abuse by Dr. Richard Strauss was such a routine topic of conversation that it's inconceivable Jordan did not know. Yet Jordan, now a powerful Republican congressman, refuses to budge.
We've got 6 former Ohio State wrestlers who absolutely say you knew about Dr. Strauss because they either told you at the time or you were there and heard it.
You guys are still asking about this after
Yeah.
the Perkins Coie Clinton's law firm investigated this and didn't even mention my name once.
Well, they didn't mention
There's
your
nothing-
name, but they
nothing
mentioned that
we
20
did nothing
coaches
wrong.
knew about it.
Every single coach has said the same thing I have. All kinds of athletes have said the same thing I have. And the reason they've all said that is because it's the truth. Look, if I'd have known there was some kind of problem, some kind of abuse, I'd have helped out our athletes. What they're saying is just not true.
Richard Strauss killed himself in 2005. Last year, an independent investigation concluded while Dr. Strauss worked at OSU over 2 decades, he sexually abused at least 177 male student patients. Jim Jordan called the report a vindication because it did not name him. The report did not name any wrestling coach at Ohio State, did not find documentary evidence coaches were aware of complaints against Strauss, but 22 coaches confirmed to the investigative team that they were aware of rumors and or complaints about Strauss. Former OSU wrestler Dunyasha Yetz says Jordan is one of the coaches who knew because he told him. In January of 1993, Yetz went to see Strauss for a thumb sprain, and the doctor tried to pull down his pants. Yetz says he kicked open the doctor's door to escape. Jordan was right outside next to an ice machine.
He jumped up like, what's going on? I said, Coach, he just tried to give me a physical exam for my thumb injury. Look, it looks like a baseball. It swelled up. And he was like, man, if he ever tried that, I would kill him.
Jordan supporters say Yetz can't be trusted because of a past conviction for fraud, but 2 other wrestlers told CNN they witnessed the encounter.
What Dr. Strauss took from me that day was my dignity.
Last year, former wrestlers Dan Ritchie and Mike Flushy told the Ohio legislature that among athletes and coaches, Strauss's sexual abuse was an open discussion.
I do recall somebody bringing up something to one of the assistant coaches, and his response was simply, well, if you ever tried that with me, I'd snap his neck like a stick of dry balsa wood.
And I remember the exact phrase about, if that happened to me, I'd break his neck.
The coach who talked about breaking Strauss's neck was Jim Jordan, according to both Ritchie and Flushy, who didn't name him in front of the legislature, but have since confirmed it to CNN.
And what they're saying now is just not accurate.
Mike Flushy, Dan Ricci, you don't remember telling them you'd break the guy's neck if he did that to you?
Despite the specific allegations,
that is really, really something else, isn't it?
Oh, it's absolutely something else. And I think it's a little fishy when one guy says 20 or some odd guys are lying, that what they are saying is simply not true. That's always fishy to me. Maybe what he is saying or what she is saying, but what they are saying. And it seems like they all corroborate each other's stories. And so a little concerned about that. Seems like there's some cover-up. And, his comments about if that ever happened to me, well, when you are an educator or you are a coach at a university, your first responsibility is for the safety of the students. And so for him to be concerned about, and I believe that because the first thing that he said to the reporter was that the Clinton firm, base firm or back firm had investigated and they didn't find him. Well, it wasn't about you. We're talking about Dr. Strauss and what Dr. Strauss has done to students, and the students reported it to you, and you chose to say nothing about it. Just really shows him to be a snotty-nosed politician, lying hypocrite that he is.
Well, let me just say this. One thing
That's how I really feel.
The one thing that you said in the past, and you said that about these people that's out front that's doing all of this standing up for lies and lies that have been told, they're liars themselves.
Yep.
And the covering, and we know the Bible talks about the covering being pulled off of you. So
yep.
The covering is being pulled because the first thing said, you guys still on that? You guys still on that? Like, are you gonna? You guys not gonna let it go? Like, and as the paper was saying today is that, and it was reported that he was like, that was the worstest thing that could have happened to him. He didn't want that. He wanted it to just die. But it's not dead. And he was looking for the Supreme Court to uphold the decision, not to overturn the lower court decision, which they did, and let it move forward. And I misquoted it before, but they overturned the lower court decision, not for the suit to go forward or the cases to go forward, but now they said it should be because there's enough evidence here that to prove that these guys was sexually harassed, and that somebody from that school knew about it, that there were coaches that knew about it. The evidence in itself that said it, the report says that 22 coaches, and they didn't mention him by name, but he was one of those coaches. 22 coaches knew about it, had heard about it, rumors about it, but nobody said anything. But there, 22 people know that was on the coaching staff, knew over a period of years, knew there was rumors about this doctor. But nobody went to the administration or nobody tried to do anything but just said it's rumors. You and I both know where there's smoke, there's fire. If enough people are saying the same thing about the same person, it's got to be some truth in it, right? So
absolutely.
And so
absolutely.
they just sit on their laurels because it was the Ohio State. They didn't want that kind of scandal on that school. But now they're paying out the wazoo because they didn't address the issue that they should have addressed it years ago. And the doctor, being guilty of the offense in 2005, committed suicide. And Shanan, the other thing that was not telling on this one, but there were other kids who had been sexually abused by him that committed suicide, and there are those who are dealing with mental issues because of the fact of what had happened to them, right?
Because of the trauma that he caused.
The trauma that he caused.
The trauma that he caused. And
go on. I'm
no, go ahead.
No, I'm just saying is that we must start looking at the people who we're putting in political positions. Are we putting people in there who are seeking self-grandizement, self-power, to be on, as you said last week, CNN, Fox News, ABC, NSBC, I mean, all of these different channels to be on national news, to tout their philosophy or their so-called, or their belief and the hate and the lies that they're telling that's destroying this country. You know, when we're telling kids, thou shalt not lie, don't lie, and then they look at leaders who are leading us in this country that continuously lying and trying to cover up what's wrong, because what's wrong is wrong and what's right is right. So we got to really look at it and be sincere and serious about who we elected, whether they're Republicans. Now, I don't want anybody to say, well, you're just down on the Republicans. No, I'm not down on Republicans. I'm down on those who are doing things that are not right. They just happen to be, at this time, Republicans. But the reality of it is there's some Democrats who are guilty of not doing what's right, too. So I'm neither a Republican nor am I a Democrat. I am really for what's right. And I think, and I've been saying this over and over again, we have got to stop towning and following behind the party, whether they're a Democrat or a Republican. We got to look at the individual and whether or not the individual is looking out for our best interests. What are they? You got to look at their record. What have they done? What have they done? Not because they're eloquent speakers and they're this. And I'm going to go to the Apostle Paul, and you know this at best in the Scriptures, where Paul started the church in Corinth, but Paul was not an eloquent speaker. But when Apollos and Peter came, the people started listening to them and started sharing away from Paul and was saying, Paul, he's not an eloquent speaker, Paul is not this and Paul is not that, but he was all right at first to get the church started. But then they started looking at other people because of how they spoke, how they dressed, and those kinds of things. But they were looking at the sincerity, and that's what we're looking at. We're finding people that are sincere about this country and sincere about the citizens of this country and doing right about this country and the people who afraid of this country, the taxpayers who are tax. We tax everywhere you go. We tax. Every time you go to the store, you're paying a tax. Every time you buy gas, you're paying a tax. Every time you get a paycheck, you're paying a tax. Those taxes are going where? To the government to spend for our best interest. But when we elect people who are allocating those funds, not for us, not for the greater good of the people, but for themselves and their comrades, right? So we got to find people who are going to be in office who will really care about the citizens. And I want to bring up Miss Cheney. She said something, and we'll talk about that.
Well, hold on, before we say Miss Cheney, let me just opine if I can, quickly, that they might not have named the coaches, but we know that assistant coach Jim Jordan knew, because we heard them say under oath, under the pains and penalty of perjury, that Jim Jordan, that they went and they told him. So we know that assistant coach of the Ohio State wrestling team, former assistant coach, that he knew. The other thing is to ask, are you all still on that? When he's still, excuse me, he's still on Hillary Clinton's emails, and she's 3 times now removed from the Secretary of State. And he's still on that. So if he can still be on that, and still be on Hunter Biden's laptop and all of that, then we can still be on the fact that he allowed students to be harmed, to be sexually assaulted, and he did nothing. And he wants to sit there like he's a tough guy, takes his jacket off, walks around, excuse me, with his shirt on, appearing like he's the working man. He connects with every man. No man I know would sit back and allow that any man that I know that stands with me would sit back and let boys be harmed by a pedophile. Jim Jordan did that. He did. And he's a hypocrite, and we calling him on it, and that's straight talk.
And that ain't nothing but straight talk. Now here's Liz Cheney.
What we've done in our politics is create a situation where we're electing idiots. And And so I don't look at it through the lens of like, you know, is this what I should do or what I shouldn't do? I look at it through the lens of how do we elect serious people? And I think electing serious people can't be partisan.
It cannot be partisan. It cannot be partisan. And she's right. And then she was asked this question because people were talking about her about a bid running for the president in 2024. And she was asked this question. And and people were saying, she was just saying it's not about Liz. It's not about whether or not I run or not I don't run. But what it's really about is, are we going to elect serious people? Are we going to elect people who care about this country, who really believe in democracy versus dictatorship? Yes. Are we going to just continue to go down the road that we're going down by electing people who don't care about the country, who really hung up on one individual and supporting one individual ideology of hatred and bigotry and nothing but lies? Nothing but lies. Are we going to continue to go down that road, right? Now, whether you like her or not, one thing we do have to admit is that, and I'm not advocating for her to be no president or anything, I'm just saying is that one thing you have to admit is that she stood up for democracy. She stood up for this country, and she was willing to do it at a cost of giving up, losing her seat. Because what was more important to her, and that's why I said we need to elect people who are really about the country and really about people, because what was more important to her was saving democracy, whether staying in that seat. Too many of them will do anything to stay in the seat, but why are you in the seat when you ain't doing nothing for the people and nothing for the country? So what's your purpose for staying in the seat? To look out for your own best interests and your own self. We got to get serious about who we are electing. I want to applaud her for what she did, and Mr. Adam Kinzinger, who was also a Republican, who stood up, who chose to give up his seat because he did not see in the benefit of staying in the seat if he couldn't really serve the people, and he had to be a part of the big lie. And he was not willing to do that. And that's to be applauded, because those are the kind of people we need to want to have in office. The seat is not that important to them, that they would give up and lie and to support lies and the demise of this country and the demise of the people in this country. No, it's not worth it. It's not worth it. And I want to applaud her for that and that stand, and also him, who both were Republicans, who broke away from the party to deal with what was right.
I agree. I mean, nothing said on that. Ditto.
Yeah. So
I applaud her too.
Yeah. So what we have to do, brothers and sisters, as we get ready to close out, I wanted to leave you with that. I want to just say that we want to say our condolences go out to the King family. Miss Christine Ferris, she passed, and our prayers go out to her family, to the whole entire King family, who has given so much for justice and fighting against injustice, from a dad to a brother, a mom, a granddad. I mean, just the family itself have given up so much for mankind and humanity. And I just want to say our condolences go out to that family and anyone that's associated with that family. Shannon, I know you had opportunity to work with her a little bit when you were at Ebenezer under Senator, now Senator Raphael Warnock. If you'd like to say something, I'm going to yield to you.
Just a wonderful soul. Tremendous loss, losing her brother, the martyr, and great civil rights icon, Martin Luther King Jr. The next year, her brother, who was the former captain of the Morehouse swim team, suspiciously drowned in his own pool. 5 years after that, her mother playing the Lord's Prayer on a Sunday morning on the organ is shot by a deranged young man, Mr. Shanan. And then some 10 years after that, several nieces and nephews died, and then her father died in 1984, Daddy King. Just the pillar of strength. Really went through a lot. Very wonderful woman. I asked her once, I said, you know, you're a very accomplished woman. And we were just talking about raising children one day. And I said, all the stuff that you had to do, and you said that you always made sure that your family ate, and you always made sure that family time was together. I said, when did you have time to cook dinner? Dr. Ferris said, I cooked dinner before I went to work in the morning, to make sure that my family had something to eat and that we could come together at the table, that she cherished family and made time for family. And the Ebenezer Baptist Church was an extension of that family. And she served her church faithfully as a trustee. And as the handbell choir is named in her honor, and just day in and day out, Reverend Shanan Jones, just spending time with her and the family. And boy, if you got picked to be on a committee, she would go school teacher in a minute on you. And you'd be sitting in there and you just turn and whisper to somebody something like, you know how we do in meetings, and she turns, you got something to say? And I said, wait a minute now, I'm not in your classroom. Dr. Ferris, I didn't enroll, neither was I accepted. I didn't go to spell. You know what I mean? But just a wonderful, wonderful woman, a mighty oak tree in the church community, in academia, in community. Has been taken from us, but we know where she is, and she's together again with her husband, Brother Isaac Newton Ferris Sr., with her brothers, her mother, father, her sister-in-law Coretta, her nieces and nephews, and many more. And long as this night of mourning, we pray for Angela and for Isaac Jr. and for young Ferris and for the King family. But we know that there's another morning, a great and getting up morning, and we'll be with Dr. Ferris again in her classroom in heaven.
All right. Well, thank you so much for sharing. And listen, don't forget, tune in to Straight Talk each and every week. Share with your Facebook and YouTube family. And do these things. I'm going to say it like this. Cynthia, get it right. Like, subscribe, comment, and share. Like, subscribe, comment, and share. Won't you do that for us right here on Straight Talk? Hey, listen.
Stop talking about me.
And the other thing is, I do have to say this, though, because Shannon, this is very important, because, you know, we're seeing so many people now that's, you know, at various events and various things. And we want to thank those of you who tell us how much you enjoy the program and like the program. We really, really appreciate that. Hey, and we're going to keep doing it. We're going to keep it straight. We're going to say it just like it is. And thank you, Pastor Smith, for your comments and sending it out on your Facebook page to your friends and your members. And Pastor DeWitt Smith. Yes, you were about to say something, Shannon. You raised your finger like you was in school. You raised your finger like you was in Miss Farron's class, right?
Yeah, can you hear me? Yeah, like I'm in the class. Excuse me, can I say something? And that's how you felt in those meetings too when she was planning King Day. But let me say that next week we do need to touch on the Supreme Court striking down affirmative action at universities, that race cannot be a factor anymore in deciding who attends a majority university. I think that's something that we didn't have time to put it in, but that's something major that we need to touch on next week, and we will.
Well, we're going to talk about the Supreme Court and their rulings on all of those cases, about the abortion case, about the young person who wanted not to serve to people who were other sexual persuasion. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about the money that Joe Biden wanted to give for give debt for college loans. We're going to talk about all that because they're listening to those cases now. And I don't know if all the ruling has come out on all those cases, but I know they're all up before them at this time. So probably by next week we'll know more and more and can talk about the Supreme Court and their decisions. Well, until next week, it's been nothing but what? Straight Talk with Greg Fann, the Preacher Man, and Shannon E. Jones. Now, Big Papa, you go see about Samuel. We'll see you next week.
Want to be a guest on Straight Talk? Email Greg Fann at FA FANN922 at Comcast.net or call 404-308-0795. Join us again for another episode of Straight Talk with Shanan Jones and Greg Fann, the Preacher Man.